We must. Warriors! The world is a troubled place. We must find time to save the human race. Love, unity, and empathy has no place among the human race in this transition. When we live in love and harmony and show respect with unity, only love can set us free to fight injustice wherever it be. Just said the hungry must be fed, but man can't live by only bread. We have the future in our hands. Let's take the track to the promised land. Jamaica, Ethiopia, America, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, from the middle of the graveyard to the center of the sea. Our ancestors, are you and me? We are the great ones from the beginning of time. We have the heart, the soul, the body, and the mind. Calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling. United we stand, divided we fall. All for one and one for all. Some never know themselves until them back against the wall. Jamaica, Haiti, Nyan-Ko-Pong a call, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Praises to the great ones, praises of our nation. Yeah. Oh yes, I say, united we stand, divided we fall. All for one and one for all. Some will never know themselves until they're back against the wall. Nigeria and Nigeria, the ancients wanna calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong, calling,
Buy a donkey.
Happy New Year, dear people. I know that if you were down in the place called Jamaica, there'll be a whole different catch of fish. Buy a donkey, Angela. Buy a donkey, Kareem.
Donkey.
Donkey, buy a donkey.
What does that mean? Who can
you,
tell me?
you tell me. All I know is a boy, it resonates with the language. Buy a donkey.
Buy a donkey means thank you very much.
Thank you. Go
If
on, bro.
if you say donkey, you just say thanks.
Boy, I tell you. Language, sound, and
Oh,
power. Language, sound, and power. Yeah, let's wait a bit longer to see if we get some more brothers and sisters. I, Anisha, I add her to the group, and some more other brothers and sisters. Any progress report, brother Kareem? Any progress report? Anything transpire? All right. Sister Angela, any progress report?
I was out there doing my depot today. But I was going back through the second semester.
Mm,
Some of the videos weren't sent via YouTube. I've noticed that, so I
what
couldn't
video you saw?
join. Some of them I wanted to watch with
Oh,
Aunt Janelle in the second semester. Most of them is just the StreamYard, but no YouTube connection, no YouTube link, I
okay.
should say.
All right. Uh, we're going to make some headway today. Hopefully, we get some more brothers and sisters on board. I have something that I want to play pertaining to the postal system.
Hmm.
I think Kareem had made a bit of inquiry about something like this last week. So I've been doing my homework to see how much we can present some of these findings.
Yeah, I wanted to find the video that teaches us how to get our post box.
I think this have some attachment to it. Wagwan hard working Crystal, Grand Rising.
Grand
Yeah,
Rising, everybody.
yeah.
And
Grand Rising brother Jackson.
Rising.
Yeah,
Grand Rising.
yes, yes. Hopefully we get the rest of Massive on board. Thank you so much, Crystal. I got the minutes. I will be having meeting tomorrow. Let me apologize to you, Crystal, for the chief meeting the other day. A piece of headache come down from me. Them a work science, so I have to buy a donkey right now. Them find out,
Oh,
yeah, them find out. And then them find out, say you're too progressive, the thing, them send out all kind and turn up a megahertz for you. So, what I mean? I was so overwhelmed by a headache the other day, Crystal. No, man. All right, we have brother James joining us right now. Also, Grand Rising, brother James. Thank you for coming.
President Chief, President and everyone.
Yeah, buy a donkey, buy a donkey. That's the new way to say hello. Buy a donkey. And when we say buy a donkey, we say
Thank
again.
you.
All right then, buy a donkey.
Yeah, buy a donkey, right? And when you say donkey, that means thank you. So when I
thanks.
say buy a donkey, you
Thank
say
you.
it's a donkey. Why? God, sorry, food. I'm telling you. Yeah. Yo, yo, yes, I am. So, all right. Let's get serious. Please, let's try to get serious. So this sovereignty international, a bit of things he talked about in the front, but he does get into the postal system as to how we can approach it. So it's a 10-minute thing. I want to just go over it a bit, listen keenly, and see what we can take from it. This is to show you how to deal with the postal system. All right. So let us get into it, please.
Okay, everybody, this video is about do-it-yourself free mail. I think we can all figure out ways to save ourselves a few bucks, and this is a way that we can do it, and maybe even administrate our public servants even more. They obviously need it. So, anyways, let's go. First of all, you have to understand that if you have to ask a government employee if something applies to you, you have demonstrated that you're not competent. And there is no such thing as an incompetent state citizen. You have to know this, and you have to be able to defend it. And you have to ask, if you have to ask if something applies to you, then it does. Then they'll tell you it does, and they'll be right, because you're not competent. You have to know the law. You have to live the law. You have to be the king. And so, before you do this, you got to be able to defend it. I got most of the important parts of this from a guy that I know on abodia.com/t and /mail. I've talked with the owner of that website about this process extensively. They hold a conference call every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're interested in participating, you can send an email to t@abodia.com, and he'll tell you how to either call in or get on the conference call on Skype. Very good information. So, to start things off, there are two postal entities in America. There's one called the United States Post Office, and the other one called the United States Postal Service. The United States Post Office was established on the 26th of June, 1775, has never been bankrupt. The Articles of Confederation were passed by Congress in 1777 and ratified in 1781, so it was passed before established before the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution was ratified in 1787, so it was obviously before the Constitution as well. And it handles the post. Okay, so it's not, when you do the post office, you're sending the post. It's not mail. Okay, mail is a martial law terminology. The United States Postal Service was established on the 12th of August, 1970. And zip codes were started by proclamation number 3746 on September the 20th of 1966 by President Johnson. All employees of the Postal Service are U.S. citizens. The Postal Service deals in the District of Columbia and the territories only, okay? If you're a U.S. citizen or if you're in the District of Columbia and the territories, then you deal with the Postal Service. Otherwise, you deal with the United States Post Office, and that's different. And the Postal Service handles the mail. That's a martial law terminology. This is the act this is the act as the Postal Reorganization Act is what they call it, but it was approved on August 12th, 1970 at 84 Stat 719. It's an act to improve and modernize the Postal Service, to reorganize the Post Office Department and for other purposes. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that this act may be cited as the Postal Reorganization Act. Section 201 says there is established an independent establishment of the executive branch of the government of the United States, the United States Postal Service. And that's where they set up the Postal Service. Okay, so there's two entities. Okay, so anyways, there's two states in every state. There's a lawful de jure state and there's a federal territory. This is a citation that's actually taken from Supreme Court and cited again in this Pennsylvania case. There's been created a fictional federal state of XXX within a state. State citizens are in the state, U.S. citizens are in the territory. State statutes are actually federal statutes under the international law rule. Okay, so again, you have to understand that if you are in the Texas state, that's international to the federal government. If you're a U.S. citizen, then you're not in Texas state, you're in Texas territory. And so it's all about citizenship. International law rules adopted for areas under federal legislative jurisdiction. Federalizes state civil law, including common law, and the rule serves to federalize not only the statutory but the common law of a state. That's taken from a book published. It's called Jurisdiction Over Federal Areas Within the States, and it's a report of the Interdepartmental Committee for the Study of Jurisdiction Over Federal Areas Within the States. And that's part 2, a text of the law of legislative jurisdiction submitted to the Attorney General and transmitted to the President in June of 1957. And this same document goes on to talk about state and federal venue, discuss the civil laws effective in an area of exclusive federal jurisdiction or federal law, notwithstanding their derivation from state laws, and a cause arising under such laws and be brought in or removed to a federal district court under sections 24 and 28 of the former Judicial Code, now sections 1331 and 1441 of the United States Code. So again, if you're a U.S. citizen, then all these state statutes are actually federal, okay? And actually all these state statutes only apply to U.S. citizens. Anyways, a U.S. citizen is not entitled to an Article 3 court, but instead gets an Article 1 court with a plenary military dictatorship jurisdiction, and Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, Constitution of the United States of America, as defined and reinstated in National Mutual Insurance Company of the District of Columbia versus Tidewater Transfer Company, which further states that citizens of the District of Columbia are not embraced by the judicial power under Article 3 of the Constitution for the United States of America. The same statement is held in Hepburn versus Dundas. The Supreme Court, through Chief Justice Marshall, held that a citizen of the District of Columbia was not a citizen of a state. We therefore decline to overrule the opinion of Chief Justice Marshall. Excuse me. We hold that the District of Columbia is not a state within Article 3 of the Constitution. In other words, cases between citizens of the district and those of the states are not included in the catalog of controversies over which Congress can give jurisdiction to the federal courts by virtue of Article 3. In other words, Congress has exclusive legislative jurisdiction over citizens of Washington District of Columbia, and through their plenary power, military dictatorship, people, nationally covers those citizens, even when in one of the several states, as though the district expands for the purpose of regulating its citizens wherever they go throughout the states of the Union. And that's U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, so if any citizen, this is where it's codified under the United States Code. If any citizen or resident of the United States does not reside in and is not found in any of the United States judicial districts, such citizen or resident shall be treated as residing in the District of Columbia for purposes of any provisions of this title, and A, jurisdiction of the courts, or B, enforcements of a summons. Okay, and that is 26 USC 770139 or 7408C. Okay, what happened is they made some changes, so it got moved. So I'm not sure which one it is today. Every taxpayer is assessed to K trust having sufficient interest in preventing abuse of the trust to be recognized in the field of this court's prerogative jurisdiction. If you want to be a U.S. citizen, then you're in interstate commerce. That's exactly what it is. A citizen of the United States is a civilly dead entity operating as co-trustee and co-beneficiary of the public charitable trust under the 14th Amendment, which upholds the debt of USA and US Inc. That's a congressional record. It might be correctly said that there is no such thing as a citizen of the United States. A citizen of one of the states of the Union is held to being called a citizen of the United States, although technically and abstractly there is no such thing. State citizens are the only ones living under free government whose rights are incapable of impairment by legislation or judicial decision. U.S. Supreme Court. State citizenship is a vested substantial property right, and the state has no power to divest or impair these rights. The state cannot diminish rights of people. So, if you, Texas and every other state is foreign to the United States, which is the District of Columbia. If you are a state citizen, if you are a U.S. citizen and you are in the District of Columbia everywhere, Texas is a territory for U.S. citizens. The exclusive jurisdiction which the United States have in forts and dockyards ceded to them is derived from the express assent of states by whom the cessions were made. It could be derived in no other manner because without it, the authority of the state would be supreme and exclusive therein. It is well-established principle of law that all federal regulation applies only within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States. There is a canon of legislative construction which teaches Congress that unless a contrary intent appears, legislation is meant to apply only within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States. Okay, so these are all cases that say that that if you're a state citizen, that the feds have no authority over you. That's basically what it said. In the sense of public international law, the several states of the Union are neither foreign to the United States nor are they foreign to each other. But it is not the case in the field of private international law. So they're talking about the two different differentiations here. So in public international law, they're not foreign to each other; they're territories, and but in private international law, they are foreign to each other. The United States government is a foreign corporation with respect to a state of the union. So if you're a U.S. citizen, it's public international law, and you're not foreign to the United States. You're in a territory, and if you're a state citizen, then it's private international law, and it's foreign. So this is actually taken from 12 Stat 705, which is talking about postage. Okay, this is Chapter 71, which was an act that was passed by Congress in 1863, March 8, 1863, and I can't remember the name of the title of the act, but it doesn't really matter. So anyway, section 22, it says, and be it further enacted that the rate of postage of all domestic letters transmitted in the mails of the United States not exceeding 1/2 ounce in weight shall be uniform at 3 cents for each 1/2 ounce or a fraction thereof of additional weight. There shall be charged an additional rate of 3 cents to be in all cases prepaid by postage stamps plainly affixed to such letter. Okay, so there's friends of mine that use 3-cent stamps, and what they're saying is it's domestic mail. That's DC and the territories, and actually Congress has there's been acts that were passed since then.
I want to interject right there. Did anybody hear what he said a while ago as pertaining to domestic mail? Did
Yeah,
anybody get it?
The 3
It's 3
cents.
cents per out.
That you're supposed to pay only 3
3
cents?
cents.
You hear that?
Yes.
Once it's not going across the water into international waters, 3 cents. Now there's some 3-cent stamp where we need to go on UPS, United States Postal Service. Remember what I'm say again? So that the post office and the United States postal system is two different things. You walk in a one building, but it offer about 10 different service. And this is the service where you're supposed to get, the way on the back room. Because all of the rest of company them buy up. You notice when you go in a post office now, you see federal up front, you see all kind of DHL, everybody there up front. But the post office that you need, nobody know. What you mean again? What that it is there. So this that we're listening, listen keenly. It is telling you what to ask for when you're dealing with the postal system. Yes, there are something nice when I finish because we're going to dissect public and private when we finish with this because public and private come into the post office business so much, but we don't take it because even with the slip that you're supposed to get as a sovereign, what color postal slip do we use? Anybody know that?
The special is it special
Green. Green
oh,
slip. The red
oh.
slip for the federal. Anytime you are getting package and it's going to be on the red slip, tell them you want to reassess the postal sending because they're putting that mean that your package is not under protection from the government postal system. And what happened is to they have gone ahead to even insure your package via their commitment. If I have seen on 3 occasions where the government postal system is very much disrespected where people are going into it. But we did not send them as sovereign. So next time I'm sending anything, I'm going to demand a green postal slip. And anyway get tampered with or anyway, then you know that this is our sovereign documents or packages that they're being tampered with and we can sue them. What the other corporation have done, like DHL and FedEx and these places, they have their own, their your estate is insured 2 times. I remember saying nothing, anything that have a number on it is insured by the World Bank. You all know that. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, you are insured. Even the package. And remember you was saying a while ago about that the package when it comes down to the serial number in the post office, the insurance on it from the government and then the other agents, because the federal government is a third party agent. FedEx is a third party agent. DHL is a third party agent. So your mail is actually that's how they can go into your package now. Because when we give the third party the authority to tamper with our mail, they can tamper with it. Any question, anything you want to put in? I'm about to start back.
I wonder which one would I look for in England? Or would
The
I
Royal,
ask?
the Royal Post Office
Mm.
is our post office. We are the royal, not the Queen Elizabeth. We are
Mm.
the royal. We are the sovereign. Remember, Queen Elizabeth is a sovereign and she claims sovereignty. That's
Mm.
all we get to rule over people because only sovereign alone have subject. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
only sovereign carry the position of a
Sovereign.
citizens and subject. All right, let's get back into it.
Okay.
Listen, keen. A lot of gems in this.
So I think the postage actually in this case for domestic mail is what it is today. But they get away with doing 3-cent stamps, and that's fine. But um, I'm not sure that they should be. But anyways, now in section 23, this is the next section, and be it further enacted that the rate of postage on all letters not transmitted through the mails of the United States. Did you know that the U.S. Postal Service is a transmitting utility? That's right. But delivered, so that's commercial. That's all commercial. But delivered through the post office or its carriers, commonly described as local or drop letters not exceeding 1/2 ounce in weight shall be uniform at 2 cents. Okay, so uh, if you're um, using the general post office, and we're going to see here in a minute where that comes in, then you are not transmitting mails of the United States through the mails of the United States, but delivering. But your post is being sent by the post office. Okay. Additional rate. So then it says it's 1/2 cent, 2 cents for 1/2 ounce, and an additional rate of for each 1/2 ounce of fraction or additional weight cases prepaid by postage. So it's 2 cents for the first 1/2 ounce and 2 cents for every additional 1/2 ounce. And that's found at um, 12 Stat 705, Chapter 71, Section 23, which was approved March 8th, 1863. And this same act, this is 12 Stat 71, 1863. It's this in Section 2, okay? This is at the very beginning of the act. And it says, and be it further enacted that the Postmaster General, all postmasters and special agents, and all persons employed in the General Post Office, okay, or in the care, custody, and conveyance of all mail hereinafter appointed or employed shall, previous to entering in the duties assigned to them or the execution of their trusts. Okay, so it's a trust. And before they are entitled, they shall be entitled to receive any emoluments. Therefore, in addition to the oath of office prescribed by the Act of July 2nd, 1862, respectively, take and subscribe to the following oaths. So they have two oaths. Okay, if they're involved, this is where the General Post Office comes in. So there's the U.S. Postal Service and the General Post Office.
What is there again? Who you come to the business with again? You want the General Post Office or you want the Federal Post Office? And the Federal you want? All right, you're a citizen then, man.
No, on
Give
the
me
general.
a General you want? You sure,
Yeah,
right,
man.
General? All right. So, as he said a while ago, what is the main purpose of the post office? You hear what I'm saying a while ago? The world trust.
Yeah.
Now, if the post office is a part of the world trust, that simply means that you remember one time when how do you think Western Union came about? It's through the post office, you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, originally.
Ah, right. So that to show you that the post office is a big business, people. One big fat business, but we don't use it. We trust the corporation government more than the post office. That's why I said when you want notification, the post office that is the biggest notary in the land. Go ahead, Crystal. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. So you have the World Trust that deals with the finance, and the World Trust is the top of the Postal Trust. You know that the post office is bigger than your elected officials. Yes, your elected officials. Or do you know that if you go in a post office, a police can just come take you out there, so there's two places that you have diplomatic immunity: a post office and an airport. A police have to ask the postmaster general to come into the post office because the post office is like an embassy. Because mails are like people, you have a number, and if you have a vast amount of transmitting going on into one place, it is called an embassy. An embassy have diplomatic immunity because it has several treaties running through that building, the post office. And that is why the stamps are so important, because the stamps are like money. You know that stamps are like money. If you put it on certain paper at certain point and sign and seal it, it becomes valuable. And that is why when you mail your birth paper with the right proper correction through the post office, and it is sealed, it is date and stamped. So when you go into the court of law, you can draw for that as evidence. And no one can deny you of that. So the post office, the general post office. What me say me come for the business with again? The general post office, not the federal. Yeah, the general. Tell the general some there. Because you are a postmaster general also. Let's continue, because this is going to get very, very nice as we show you how to exercise your postmaster general office.
Okay. And so that's why, and we'll see how that's all used here in a minute. Okay. But so it's the General Post Office. The USPS is a transmitting utility. The USPS employees have oaths. The General Post Office have an additional oath. Employees receive emoluments. An emolument is any advantage, profit, or gain received as a result of one employment or holding of office. Okay, so these are all government employees. So then this Bodia.com has sent out a bunch of letters, and this is the way they send it. Okay, so it's from, and the name is, they always copyright it because that way they can't use it. and it's in square brackets. So that means there's no name there. General Post Office, okay, and that's not in square brackets. That's on the page. It's at the very beginning. Judicial District in square brackets, and it's care of the street, the town.
This is showing you how to set it up. So when you're sending your letter, 2 cents half ounce, the weight of the letter from John Doe, the General Post Office, which part it located, first class US mail, fully prepaid, General Post Office, and it is because there's a way to set up your letters, which I think everyone may be aware of that already.
The state, and then in square brackets is RFD, which stands for Rural Federal District, and then you put in the zip code, and that's non-domestic, zip exempt without the United States, and then say about an inch down or half an inch down by itself, you put in first class U.S. mail, fully prepaid, 12 stats at large, 705, chapter 71, section 23, 2 cents per half ounce. And then the address where you send it to, you do this part down here. It's General Post Office. It's got to be using the General Post Office, and it's to ABC Company, care of 123 any street, any town, any state. You got to put in, I forgot to put in the zip code. That should be in there, the same kind of format, RFD in square brackets. Non-domestic, zip exempt without the United States. And actually, you don't have to use the zip code. You can leave that off, and they'll figure it out. It takes a little longer. Actually, I've had mail, all sorts of mail, get to me without the zip code, but so I do it without the zip code as well. But in order to help them, I put.
You hear him say a while ago, because a lot of people when they're going to the post office is acting like under a military rules, Some of these federal workers, as you hear, they are federal workers. So they have contract with the federal government. They're actually there as spy in the post office to see that the federal jurisdiction is adhered to. A zip code is not a must, as you hear the man say. And when you go to the post office, they tell you must have a zip code. You don't must have a zip code. I am sending it to this address. They want to have more information on your documents than needed. Zip code is not a must. You hear what the man said a while ago. Just wanted to point that out.
The zip code there. It's a lot of hassle otherwise. Anyways, the owner of this Bodia.com website told me that they've sent over 6,000 pieces of mail this way over the years. So that's well established, 2 cents per half ounce. And the method 2, this is method 2, okay? And this is showing a green card that came back. It was signed for, and it came back. And notice how General Post Office, zip exempt, the name, care of, the address, Northport, Florida, and the RFD. That's all there, non-domestic without the United States. Okay, and they're using a self-adhesive label. When I do mine, I print it on there. And this is the return address. Notice they use a 2-cent stamp because you don't want to, if you're doing this, you have to be the king. And so there's the U.S. Postal Service and the General Post Office. This Bodia.com for Rural Federal District. And then you put in the zip code. And that's non-domestic, zip exempt company, care of 123. It's a lot of hassle otherwise. Anyways, the owner of this Bodia.com website told me that they've sent over 6,000 pieces of mail this way over the years. So that's well established, 2 cents per half ounce. And the method 2, this is method 2, okay? And this is showing a green card that came back. It was signed for, and it came back.
Sorry about that. I think we need to do, especially our brothers and sisters who live in the United States, We need to do a stamp revisory before this course over or after. Why I say a stamp revisory, we need to know the stamps that we are going to use. The 2 cent stamp, yeah, the 5 cent stamp. These are very powerful stamps. As you go along, you will see. But we have to know the stamp that we're going to order. So you order good amount and then you can use them at your pleasure.
And notice how General Post Office, zip exempt, the name, care of, the address, Northport, Florida, and the RFD. That's all there, non-domestic without the United States. Okay, and they're using a self-adhesive label. When I do mine, I print it on there. And this is the return address. Notice they use a 2 cent stamp because you don't want to, if you're doing this, this is going to be free. And if you're doing this, then you don't want to take advantage of any privileges or benefits because that's a contract. And so General Post Office, zip exempt, care of this avenue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it got there no problem. And this is a certified letter that was sent out. This is a different one, but it's basically the same thing. And
That's what I was saying about a green stamp, a certified mail. Certified mail. We must insist that we want to do a certified mail with the General Post Office, not the Federal Post Office. All right, please take note because I will be quizzing you about these things.
So they put all this stuff on here, and if you look at the mailing address, it's the name is copyrighted, care of General Post Office near Charleston, West Virginia Republic, non-domestic without the United States, and then they mention 18 U.S.C. Section 1701, which is obstruction of the mails. And we're going to talk about why everything's on here. But they also talk about the International Mail Manual. They even have a link to it and marking 742.1 as marking postage paid, and 742.2 is parcels without stamps treat as prepaid, and private property, no trespassing. That's all important. And notice they put the name in square brackets, and because technically that are not in square brackets, it's in a box, because the box takes it off the page. Anything in square brackets or a box, it's off the page. And so then it's postage paid, UPURL 114, and as a signature there. Okay, and that's copyrighted. And I don't do that, but you know, some people want to do it. That's fine. Anyways, the point is that when you sign it, you become the postmaster. And the Foreign Office of Origin, you have to understand that if you are
What did he say a while ago? Slip me. That slipped me. Anybody heard what he said?
When you
It
sign,
slipped me
you,
to said something
when
about
you sign to when
When
you
you
sign
say
to become the postmaster.
you become the postmaster, look how easy you become a postmaster general. Right there. And it is recorded because what did I say? I said the post office is the first government. So notice the principle is notice.
Notice the agent.
again.
And the post office is the principal.
Principle.
Right. Yo, let's get back into this chicken back and beans. Hold
Hold,
on, please.
quick question that kind of go over my head. What is it that you needed to do to become a postmaster general? That
The, the fact that you are sending a mail in its proper persona with your 2 cent stamp, if you notice the back of it, it has on all of the necessary to inform the computer, the postmaster, the post office, all the necessary details, and everything is copyrighted. Remember, he's stressing on it. So the mere fact that you have done this in this way, only a postmaster general know these ethics.
ew, gotcha.
Got me? Alright. Okay, I put this in the class for us to burn and joint and listen keenly. Because a lot of listen me, we learn by when we remeditate. So we make you're in a conversation with somebody deep, and then when you go in the bathroom and wash your face, you come back and I really that George did that say to me? Yes. That's how we learn. Because we have to stay in our mind with it and then we dissect it. So I put it in the class and we are going to get it, but we are doing it together. So we know for everyone here, we can be a witness, so we know what to do. We might not do it, but as soon as the need come about, you're going to remember exactly how to do it.
in Texas State, and you're sending something in America, then you're foreign. Okay, but they deliver it. And notice the date, and we're going to get into that in a minute. The post office put the date in there, and which is interesting because they left the date out. So your signature, I use red ink when I do the signature. Your signature is your postmark. One time I signed a stamp in front of a postal clerk and they told me that I canceled the stamp. Your signature makes you the postmaster. The date, I didn't use it. The post office corrected it. Notice how a 2-cent stamp is used on the green card, so you're not taking advantage of any benefit. These ones show the use of self-adhesive labels, but you can print directly on the envelope or the green card. In addition to the items shown on the pictures, I sent out dozens of certified letters using this method. I'm planning on doing some registered ones in the near future, and I just drop them in the mailbox. Some of them start tracking online immediately. Some of them start tracking at the first major city, and some of the tracking starts when they are delivered. Some of them track when they are delivered only. So it's just, and we'll show you here. This one here started tracking at Livingston, Texas, and that was where I dropped it in the mailbox. And then it ultimately went to Plano. And I haven't got the green card back on this yet, but I expect that I will. And this one here just tracked when it was delivered. Okay, they scanned it in when it was delivered, and that's it. Okay, and so you're going to get them every way, I'm sure. And this one here, this one was dropped in the mailbox near Livingston, Texas, and so then that goes through Houston, and so it didn't start tracking till it hit Houston, and so you're going to get them every way.
When you go to the post office, people, what sort of mail do you want to send again? When you are doing business with the general post office, what sort of mail?
Certified mail. They
Yeah,
can track it.
I was just checking. I was just checking when you go up to the front and the clerk is saying, I'm here to send a certified mail out. And once that word is put forward, they slip into action one time. A certified mail. Yes, I'm a postmaster general and I'm come to do a certified mail. Very, very nice.
But the point is you can go on the USPS's website and you can start. I always use this. What I do is I print off the USPS's website after it's delivered, and I staple my green card and my receipt and everything to it, and that's my evidence. And for when the lawsuit comes. And this is 18 U.S.C. Section 1701. Whoever knowingly and willfully obstructs or retards the passage of the mail or any carrier or conveyance carrying the mail shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 6 months or both. So they cannot obstruct or retard the passage of the mail. This is the Universal Postal Union, taken from the Letter Post Manual, Article RL 114, prepayment, methods of denoting prepayment. And if you go down and section 2.2, which is mentioned on the front of these letters, items may also be provided with an indication that full postage has been prepaid, for example, tax per view, okay, or postage paid. This indication shall appear at the top right-hand part of the address side and be authenticated by a date stamp impression of the office of origin. Okay, when you sign it, that's your stamp. That's your, I should say, your mark, your postal mark. Okay, so the post office actually corrected that by inserting the date. And I just pulled up this letterpost manual online. Now, there's a friend of mine in Canada. She's brilliant. It's a lady, and she does this. She's been doing it for a long time, and she does it. She makes up self-adhesive labels, and the red part up at the top is what the label says, and the OHMS is on Her Majesty's service. It's and then IMM stands for International Mail Manual, and she made a sheet of self-adhesive labels. And so it takes, if you want, I'll send you. Anybody from Canada can send me an email. I'll send you the.
So when I'm sending my mail and I put Nyan-Ko-Pong High Chief, Nyan-Ko-Pong Maroon Sovereign Global Government, and they would like, no, anyhow they hamper you at the post office, say, as the man say, you can get 18 years in a prison.
Anyhow, they do what?
Anyhow they hamper you, they like make you feel like don't want to send your mail, or in any way they can go to jail, because all postmaster, all federal workers take a oath before they can work in the post office to uphold common law.
For fine or imprisonment. Both.
Yes, or both. Right? So when you're sending your letter and they tell you that you have to this after that, certified, when you're sending it as a postmaster general, this is what she's telling you. You can put OHMS on Her Majesty's service, IMM, International Meaning Manual. You can make up your own appellations and put on it. Nobody's going to tell you about them not send mail to you, sir. Them not, no. This is a general. That's why it's not the federal post office you want to go, my brothers and sisters. You want to go to the general post office. Very much. So when you go in the building, remember that it is first and foremost, we're at war. So all of our government building has been taken over under military command. So the post office is no different. So when you go in the post office and say you just go to the counter and say you want to send a letter, you have to know which one of the services you're using. The general, the federal, the UPS, one of them, Her Majesty's. You want to use the general post office, and that will come for you to send a certified mail with my stamp, my 2 cent stamp and everything. And that is it now. When we are using the general post office, that is how you get your value. Because as he tell you a while ago, if you sign over the stamp, it becomes valuable one time. It becomes money. All right? Because what the post office is backed by people. Anybody know what backed the post office?
Go on.
Oh, sorry. Let me get back in it, people. Don't know, man.
The labels. She takes the article to the clerk. she's a little bit more brazen about it. And if the clerk asks what it's about, she says, "It's not my job to teach you how to do your job." So anyway, she's pretty gutsy. And she has done registered mail too. And International Mail Manual, section 742. Some marking of foreign items of foreign origin do not bear postage stamps, but instead are marked postage paid or on postal service, packed per queue, followed by the postmark. The marking on Her Majesty's service or OHMS is sometimes used. Treat this mail as prepaid. Okay. And parcels without postage stamps. Some foreign offices do not put postage stamps on parcels. All such parcels received must be regarded as prepaid. That's in the International Mail Manual. And Congress has increased the USPS requirement for pension reserves. So Congress is using the USPS to finance their fictitious federal debt is what they're doing. And so anyways, Patrick Henry said, give me.
Anybody did that fly over anybody a while ago as to the fraud that is taking place in the post office?
Yes.
Did you hear what he said?
Fly over my head.
He said that
They're using it to fund.
The reason why UPS, United States Postal Service, is inside the General Post Office is because that is part of the fraudulent jurisdiction that they get. Because the post office is the common law government, when you go set up business in a common law government, what does that make you? Legal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fraud entity operating on our natural grounds, because this is why they can tax you and do all kind of thing, because Congress now is the one who is above the UPS, not the General Post Office. Don't get it twisted. It is two different entities. Congress is the one who over the United States Postal System Service. What did we say? If you create it,
You own it.
You own it.
So the government created the UPS, so it owned the UPS, but the government did not created the General Post Office. No, the United States government didn't create that. The government has been elected governments did not create the general. It's backed by gold, just like the World Trust. So this is one of our place where we the people have the say, not them. But I wanted that to be soaked in that the UPS and all other agency operating within the postal office is actually a fraudulent entity. Because they get our information and everything, and they're not supposed to get our information because they're not government, they're corporation.
Liberty to give me death after he witnessed a man flogged to death for refusing to take a license. Once a fraud, always a fraud. This is all a fraud, okay? If you're in DC and the territories, everything they do is a fraud, okay? When you're operating as a state citizen in Texas, that is the lawful de jure way that is supposed to be done, okay? And when you participate that, you're participating in a fraud. Things invalid from the beginning cannot be made valid by some subsequent act. A thing void in the beginning does not become valid by lapse of time. Time cannot render valid an act void in its origin. Out of fraud, no action arises, and any act by any government official to conceal a fraud becomes an act of fraud. It is a fraud to conceal a fraud. A fraud is inexcusable and unpardonable. Fraud and deceit should excuse no man. These are all maxims of law. Any fraud amounts to injustice. Fraud and justice never dwell together. What is otherwise good and just, if sought by force or fraud, becomes bad and unjust. And so these are all maxims of law. These people are these DC Satanists. This is what's happened to our republic, is it's been seized. A bunch of Satanists have seized control. And you're the father of your father, the devil, the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And that's John 8:44. But the fearful and unbelieving and abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And so they're all going to go to hell. And the United States Postal Service is for the District of Columbia and the territories, okay? And that's all. Everything they do is a fraud. All federal codes, rules, and regulations are for the District of Columbia and the territories. All state codes, rules, and regulations are for the federal territory, for the District of Columbia and the territories. They're using your own ignorance to generate revenue for their bankster thieves. That's exactly what they're doing. By voluntarily contributing to their fraudulent, fictitious system, you're encouraging them and financing your own destruction. That's exactly what's going on. And so then there's some question as to whether people that participate in that are also Satanists. So we all need to educate ourselves about this and quit being Satanists. This is 1 Peter 3:19, by which he also went and preached to the spirits in prison And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth. They shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and they shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall be visited. That's Isaiah. In other words, they're all going to hell. It behooves every man who values liberty of conscience for himself to resist invasions of it in the case of others, or their case may, by change of circumstances, become his own. Thomas Jefferson. If ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us in peace. We ask not your counsel or arms. Crouch down, lick the hands which feed you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may our posterity forget that you are ever. Samuel Adams, quoted from the debates of 1776. So this is actually has a way of that you can spend a lot less money on sending mail. You know, this is actually a way that you can keep some of those IOUs that you get. When it is said, when it be said in any country of the world, my poor are happy, neither ignorance or distress is to be found among them. My jails are empty of prisoners, my streets of beggars, the aged are not want, the taxes are not oppressive. The rational world is my friend because I am friend of its happiness. When these things can be said, then may that country boast of its constitution and government. That's Thomas Paine, and I don't think we have anything to boast about here. In America, we have a bunch of Satanists that have seized control, and everything is the exact opposite of all of that. The prisons are full. The old people are in want. Taxes are oppressive, and we have a bunch of thieves in the government. But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take away a person from among them, he is taken in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. And that's Ezekiel 33:6. So that's my big motivation for publishing these videos, is to make sure that I am blameless before God on Judgment Day. And so now you've watched the video, so now you need to do your part to spread it around and make people aware of this, because that way that you can be blameless too. I hope that we can all make it so that we're blameless. Either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You are now a watchman. Circulate this video far and wide.
Okay, I think we grasp on it. It's about us learning about the Postmaster General. Anything that come to mind that spark your questioning? Because I'm sure we knew that the post office was one of our designated place. You know, we walk into the post office a lot of times and we don't know how powerful it is. It is an embassy. It's one of the first embassy. You know that if you seek refuge in a post office, you have diplomatic immunity. You know what, people don't look at it that way. This tape shows you from the stamp go onward how we can become Postmaster General, how we can utilize our stamps also. Because I don't believe, when last any of you here use a stamp to send a package? Because everything on Amazon now, but no use stamp again. So this is another third party. Amazon is a
We no use stamp, and last year they said all all of our first and second class stamps with Elizabeth head on it, it will be of no use. We have to use them out by X time because they won't value anything and stuff like that. I got a old packet here I haven't used,
what stamp?
but stamps, yeah.
So stamp
It,
can get expired.
that's what
No.
they're saying. We have to have stamps now with barcodes on it. But these
Yeah,
stamps, English
yeah,
people they like old things, so these stamps will value money later on to them anyway.
yes, yeah. It's not about old people. Your 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 signature over the stamp makes it valuable, woman.
Mm,
Worse if you have a stamp with a red fox on it. You're rich.
mm,
You remember say is a trust you're dealing with in the post office, is a trust company, you know. You just hear a while ago. As I
Yeah.
said, this wiring money, a post office it start from. A post office we usually go stand up and one little car.
Mm-hmm.
Even if none of you member. And they usually wire money from foreign to you. So the post office is very, very, very important.
You know, as you talk about the post office agent, the other day I went to send off a document to the court, and I had my special delivery sticker on it because the number on the sticker is also on the document I'm sending to the court. And the woman tried to trick me, you know. She said, this sticker, it will take like 3 or 4 days to get to the address that I'm sending it to. So I'd have to buy another sticker that would cost me almost £8 for it to get there the next day. And she ready to put the sticker on my sticker. So I said, why are you covering my sticker? Don't, I said, don't cover my sticker. This is a sign for a sticker. Right? So leave it at that. It cost me £3 something. And I post that document 1 minute to one on the Wednesday, and it got to the court 9:35 the next day. I said, Rotted, I'm gonna have to pay £8 every time for it to do the next day delivery. This
No,
one can get it there the next day.
yep, yep. Certified. Remember that name
Yeah, I remember that word.
when you go to the post office. I'm here to send a certified letter, a certified package, a certified.
Certified
This
document.
is yes, this is going to take you into your sovereignty because they're gonna know that oh shit, I can't. Remember the man say everything else in the post office are fraud, you know, people. These agencies are fraud. The United States Postal Service is a front for the General Post Office. So if the General Post Office is the owner of the building, why the person who rent space in the building a fraud you? We have to check it, my brothers and sisters. I have one any more question before I play this next piece? We're 7 minutes over, but you know it go. Any question? Cause your estate have to get rich, you know. I got a thing from some one of my brother today where you went to a place and he get nearly $700 off just by showing his ID. No tax, the man say Rascadites are the first this ever happened to me, Rascadites.
Which place that? Where music?
My brother Lance is in New York and he used it in New York. He sent it to me here and he got over $700, no tax.
But what company music with?
Hold on. He used it, went to a place and utilize it, my girl. Brother Lance. He
That's
went he,
very good.
he went to buy parts at O'Reilly's. He went to buy parts at O'Reilly's, my girl. And O'Reilly's and AutoZone are respecting our tax exemption. I feel good. All right, let me play this. This is my good friend Charlie. Charlie always have some good hints to give us. Lawful notice. All statement made here are, his own, but he wants to give us some points.
So, who holds the title to your body? Let's talk about it. All right, title to your body. This is going to be an interesting video. So, the birth certificate is not actually titled to your body. You should watch my video on the 10 things that a birth certificate is. It is more of an issuance of Class C common stock to the authorized representative of the corporation, which is an individual trust, the ens legis. So in 1865, the Second 13th Article and Amendment was solidifying no involuntary servitude. So it's hard to believe, but everything that we do out there as the sovereign, we're actually doing by our own consent and compliance because there is no such thing as involuntary servitude. Now, in the legal public system, animals were considered legal things, not legal persons. Now, we are the authorized representative of the legal person to operate in their system, and we're the ones that engage it in all kinds of contracts. All right, now in the legal public system, they don't classify children as property. However, the legal system continues to treat them as such until they are emancipated or they reach the age of 18. And this is a great article to read on that as well. And you have to remember that there's always the duality of public versus private. In my video titled To a Child, it basically explains how you can maintain control and gain a true controlling title over a child and enforce it if you should ever be challenged or the rights infringed on or whatever, because they're not allowed to engage in public contracts until they reach a certain age. Now, when referring to who has title over your body after you reach the age of 18, in the public system, they do not recognize humans as property. In theory, you can and could create a title over your body, but I look at it like this: you can control what you create. Did you create your body? Okay. And when it comes into the legal system, it's all about what you can prove and enforce. So you could make a title over your body and enforce it. In theory, you could even say that the birth certificate, and there's public law stating these facts, the birth certificate is not titled to your body. So they actually can't harm you, the individual. They have can get jurisdiction over the legal person, and that's what they enforce and play on in their public system. And a lot of stuff that I talk about in the legal system does not apply if there's an actual, true injured human or other party on the other side of the table that has a bona fide claim. That stuff's off the table at that point. So, who created your body? In nature, you could say your parents did. My research has shown that there's been intelligent design behind everything. So, when you look at who created your body, it is the creator, is the spiritual thing. And that is what the whole game is all about. When you dedicate your life, body, and soul to the creator, you are expressing the contract. It doesn't have to be written, but that is what is referred to when you are burying yourself and becoming a new creature and becoming alive, is when you're basically expressing and dedicating your life, body, and soul to the creators. They're the ones who created, so they get the control. As far as legal court cases go, when it comes to enforcement over a human being property, there's a lot of cases that involve limbs and dead bodies as being able to determine property. But dead bodies are even only temporarily property for a little while. Now, here's an interesting side note: nature cannot be patented, okay? But synthetic stuff and stuff that we create can. So your natural body cannot be patented. However, if you by chance actually took the juice, every cell in your body that ends up becoming mRNA infected is, in theory, can be legally claimed by this Supreme Court case ruling right here, which there hasn't been a court case ruling that you, the human that's alive, can be property, but every cell in your body is now patented and owned by the patent holder, and they could, make some type of claim on you if that ever was to arise. So to answer your question, yes, you can create a title over your body, but it's not easily enforceable in the public. Nobody else would come up with a counterclaim, but it's much more enforceable in the private. Now, you can also control stuff that your body creates, fluids, organs, limbs, stuff like that. You could claim as your property. You are actually the walking title enforcer to this earthen vessel that you use as a tool. So, that's my answer.
Hold on there, cause a man just throw one monkey wrench in a whole thing. Anybody hear what man say? Mighty God. Man just throw a monkey wrench. The man say, your body belong to you, right? But seeing that them only and push something in you with contaminate every organs and every cell. In the court of law, them can't say them own you. What a Rastafari. And the next thing again, as long as you are a citizen, them own you. Anyway, you have a document that show, say, I am a citizen of the UK or a citizen of America. You can't go in a no courthouse to talk about you want to defend rights. Citizens don't have rights. Hush up. Go sit down. Shut your mouth. He's a minor. Crystal is a minor, you know about you listen to me, he's not a major, he's a minor if you don't have a Nyan-Ko-Pong card. And even if you have a Nyan-Ko-Pong card, brothers and sisters, and you've been inoculated because of the inoculation, they can claim you. Mighty God. If this is not a blessing, me don't know what is. But I'm telling you right now, we are on a track right now where we can stand up and have a decent conversation with these fraudsters. We can talk to them because we have the leverage. I play that last part as to show that ownership of our temple is ours. The inalienable rights is ours. But each time you sign an autograph or you allow them to penetrate you, you become less valuable. Each time we go and ask an agent for assistance, that agent is dumber than you and they're giving you assistance. You think they're giving you assistance because they know better? No, they've been instructed to guide you in that sense. You have to be confident in what we are doing right now as to showing that from the post office to our own body plus our leaders, these entities must be set in a way where we fully understand them. What is the purpose of the leadership? Who let them have that leadership purpose? And of course, who is the boss? Who is the public? Who is the private? A citizen cannot have rights over a national. No. Let me see who is here right here. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sister. Lord God. I need to come to that class, but thank you. No, hello, send the link one of them there. I have to go to an Indian gathering also where the emperors asked me to make
Yeah,
us.
Regina said it starts already. So yeah. All right, later everybody.
All right, yes, Grand Rising. We shall have it.
We shall have it.
All right. Any question?
I'll just put the YouTube link so we can watch it again, make it sink in. Bye, donkey.
Put it. I put it inside there. Brother James, any question? Brother Jackson, Brother Danny, Brother Akeem, good Brother Nigel.
No, man, we just have to penetrate it again.
All
Yeah,
right.
go watch
I
it over.
Yes, you need to watch that over, and I have something for the UCC that I want to watch to play tomorrow. Because while we study the UCC code, we also have to know how to utilize them. So
Yeah.
there is two video, and for our brothers and sisters on YouTube, I may have to do it on Zoom because this video that I'm going to play in our next teachings a couple days from now or maybe next week, the YouTube will definitely go on fire if we play it on YouTube because every time we try to play it, they get banned.
Mm.
Or we may not have that class available on YouTube, but if I even have it on YouTube, I'm going to make it private. So I will invite you and send you the Google code so you can come onto YouTube because we find ways. But
Yeah.
read the UCC, rewatch this. I just put it in the chat. Take a little time, rewatch it and memorize it so you can be a postmaster general. Remember the keyword certified mail.
Yeah.
I'm here to do some certified business.
Yep.
Yes, on behalf of my estate. All right.
Okay. Bye, donkey.
Buy a donkey, brothers and sisters. I'm
By
going to.
donkey, we shall have it.
We
We shall
shall
have it.
Be a donkey.
buy a
We
donkey.
shall have it.
We shall have it.
Yeah, I'm going to see how best we can check out this thing with this Indian. Which
It's wherever it be. Just said the hungry must be fed, but man can't live by only bread. We have the future in our hands. Let's take the track to the promised land. Jamaica, Ethiopia, America, calling, Nyan-Ko-Pong calling,